Hiring managers, remember that the interview process, the way that it's going, the way that the candidate is feeling throughout the interview process, this is going to help the candidate determine whether or not your opportunity and company is a potential fit for them. And a lot of times, of course, the hiring process and interview process can be quite stressful for you as a hiring manager, especially if you are building out a new team, building out a new division, launching a new product, or expanding into a new space, and maybe have even more than one or multiple openings to fill at a time, or maybe it's just one really high level role that's really important. And if you are feeling stressed in the interview process and pressured to quickly get the right hire in place, that stressful and pressure, these emotions are going to come through in the interview process. The candidate is going to pick up on that. And what can happen is you could potentially lose out on the ideal right candidate for you and for the company and for the opportunity. Because even if they do have the qualifications that you're looking for, if they are feeling too much pressure to deliver immediately, to make an impact right away, and however they're feeling, they're going to get these feelings from the questions that they're being asked by you, the hiring manager, and by how the process is going. And so if they feel like they're not, maybe they know I am equipped for this opportunity, but they feel like they're not going to be valued stepping into the role because the way the interview process is going, because that pressure, that stress that you are taking on and feeling you're now putting onto them, even if it's not intentional, that candidate could remove themselves from the process. And I'm speaking about this because this happened recently. I had a couple of really strong candidates for this one high-level opportunity, and I was really excited to have presented some super solid candidates. And one backed out of the interview process, and then another one backed out of the interview process. And the reasons why, one of them shared with me, it was because of the way that the initial interview went and the type of questions that they were being asked. It made him feel like he wasn't going to feel valued stepping into the role. He basically shared all of the questions were around X specifically. And while I have that, I am qualified, I do have exactly what that manager is looking for in that area, I know that I have more value to bring in other areas, and the conversation didn't even expand beyond that one subject. And it just made him feel like he wasn't going to be valued at the company. And so he withdrew, and the manager wanted him. Like he probably could have gotten the role and would have been a great fit for the role. So even if it's really important to you as a hiring manager, let's say, for example, that the candidate have X qualification, or they have contacts in the space, or whatever it is, let's say it's contacts in the space. So while maybe that is important, keep in mind that just because they check that box, there are a lot of other boxes that are going to be important for that candidate to check. And so maybe just be sure to also vary your interview questions and give the candidate an opportunity to tell their story, to share their story with you throughout the interview process. Give them an opportunity to demonstrate their value so that they feel valued, and then they're much more likely to want to continue moving forward in the interview process. Feeling valued is so important to candidates, and think about, put yourself in a candidate's shoes, because just the same for you, I'm sure feeling valued is important to you in your role. When we don't feel valued, we lose motivation. And so while you might know in your mind, okay, I definitely have to have this box checked, talk about that in the interview process, but allow space and ask additional questions for the candidate to be able to open up and share the value that they can bring in other areas too, because they want to be recognized for that. And if they're able to feel valued by sharing their value and having that connection with you in the interview, then they're more likely to move forward to the next step. And the candidate that got an offer also pulled out of the process, and it sounds like he too maybe felt like he wasn't going to be valued or be bringing enough value, even though he knew that he was equipped for the opportunity. It just sounded like the way he was feeling was that there was just too much pressure on what was expected of him to step into the role and deliver and perform immediately. And remember, sometimes candidates are going to check some of the boxes and not all. And if we're too tight around certain boxes and not a little bit open, beyond that, you could be losing out on some really solid candidates. And then what happens is, of course, delays in the hiring process, and then that means opportunity costs that are lost during the interview process, because of course the longer it takes to get someone in place in that role, the more that you don't have somebody in place making sales. So just, I think that the main point is that candidates want to feel valued. And so if you can design your interview process, conduct your interview process in a way where they're getting to demonstrate their value, they're getting to share, and yes, ask those questions that you need to know to get those certain boxes that you're looking for checked, but maybe don't put so much pressure on those boxes. Allow some space for them to also demonstrate why they feel like they're a fit and the value that they have to bring, because that's going to create that connection that not only you are looking for, but remember, the candidate is looking for, especially when you get to these higher level roles where these candidates have a lot of experience and they know their value. They've demonstrated their worth throughout their entire career. So if they're now interviewing for your role and they're not feeling valued, and it could just be because you're feeling stressed with the pressure that you have on you to make the right hire and quickly, they may start to feel that stress and that pressure, and they might decide, you know what, I'm not sure that this is the right fit for me, and then you're losing out on a great candidate and starting the process over again. So remember, candidates want to feel valued just like you do as well, and to treat others like you would like to be treated. Remember to put yourself in the shoes of the candidate. I hope that helped. If you got some value from the video, I invite you to like and subscribe. That will help me grow the channel, and it'll help you stay updated on my next video, and I'll see you